What can CEOs and revenue leaders learn from Six Sigma and lean manufacturing? Well, your revenue engine is a process, pretty much like any other process, like a manufacturing process. So if I want to optimize my process, what do I do? Well, first of all, what's at stake? Let's say that you find 7 opportunities to optimize little things, maybe conversion rate goes from 20 to 22%, or, I just find 10% improvement, in 7 different places in my process. Well, do you realize that 1.1, right, 10% improvement to the power of 7 actually equals 2 or 1.95, but I've now doubled my revenue without adding a single salesperson or a single lead. We all want that, right? So how do you do that? All right, let's go back to Six Sigma class. The first thing I need to do if I want to optimize any process is I need to define it. What does that mean? In our world, it's not just defining it, but also normalizing it. So I need to define what is a lead and how does that compare to what the industry calls a marketing qualified lead? What is a sales qualified lead? What is a sales accepted lead? What do we call first value? And so forth. So I need to very clearly define, but also then normalize, right, back to what the industry definitions are for each of these stages into my sales process. All right, that's step 1. Now we're going to measure our process, right? Or in our world, I would say benchmark our process. So we're going to compare how do and typically it is conversion rate, right? So yield of my process and throughput, how long does it take to get from stage to stage? How do these things compare to my peers in the industry? Or maybe how do they compare this quarter as opposed to last quarter, right? So now I'm measuring my process. And as I'm doing that, I'm actually finding the opportunities for improvement, right? I might find that, my lead to opportunity conversion is pretty solid, but my opportunity to close is lagging the industry. So now I have a question. Why? There might be an opportunity here to improve my close rate or my opportunity to close rate. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to analyze, or maybe a better word that we use is root cause analysis. I'm going to perform root cause analysis. What is the reason that my close rate is different than the industry? Now, in lean manufacturing or Six Sigma, you have a Japanese term. It says, go to the gemba or go to the workplace. Go observe what is actually happening as people are trying to convert opportunities to deals. So in our world, what does that mean? It probably means that you have to go listen to actual sales calls. And you have to listen what's actually happening in the field as people are talking to these qualified opportunities. So this is what root cause analysis is all about. And I'm going to find opportunities for improvement. Maybe I'm finding, and this is pretty common, is that my reps are really focusing on the rational impact. Our solution will save you 50% or whatever it is. But they're not actually giving the buyer a reason to engage. They're not focusing on the emotional impact, right? Like, why would I personally make this a priority, right? To work on your on buying your solution, to make that a project in my company. So if I find that this is the case, I might start brainstorming like, okay, so I'm not really finding emotional drivers or emotional impact. Maybe I should try some new ways to uncover emotional impact on the early discovery calls or in the demos, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm going to implement a solution to this, opportunity or this problem. I would say in our world, implement, I like the word experiment, right? Because I'm probably not going to get it right the first time. And what's more, right, in Six Sigma manufacturing, after I've implemented the change and my process is yielding well, right, I'm making Toyota Prius cars or whatever, the yield is good, I'm now going to control that process. I don't want it to change. Now, this doesn't apply as well to our revenue engine because truth is, in our world, change is constant. I might have a new product, I might have a new competitor, I might have a new sales rep, and I need to iterate on an ongoing basis. But this is good news as well, because I believe that there will always be opportunities to continue to improve the sales process with the price, doubling your revenue by just finding 10% incremental improvement in 7 different places throughout your process. So there we have it. If you apply Six Sigma lean manufacturing principles to your sales process, you too could double your revenue without adding salespeople or any additional leads.